Good morning, my fellow yoga travelers. I'm mighty glad to be alive today, and I hope that you are too as we continue to live, laugh, love, learn, linger, and live the life we love. So today is Friday, it's PowerPoint presentation day, and this week I've been highlighting a little bit of my idea behind the elders. Remember, getting older doesn't make you an elder, white hair does not an elder make. But when you take stock of your life, you have a commitment to the coming generations to download your wisdom into the hard drive of the planet. And this is what I got to say about that. Soft addictions help you avoid paying attention to your tender vulnerability. And then you don't do as much self nourishment and self caring. So whether you watch too much TV, or overeat, spend too much time surfing the net, shopping, many, many things that you wouldn't consider yourself a hard addict like a heroin addict. But yet, in the same way, all addictions numb you in order not to feel pain. Now, according to the Buddha and the teachings of the Eastern philosophy, the cause of suffering is craving, wanting, desiring, always pushing for the more. And our whole culture, what I call the cannibal consumer culture, it's just fatten you up to spend more and make you think that you need certain things that you don't need. And then the things that you do get, they have planned obsolescence. So they come out with a new one. You got to get new Nike, a new iPad, a new cell phone, and so forth. You can't get enough of what you really don't want. So the truth is, you have to accept the idea of, if you're going to be an elder, that you're in the tribe of the Sacred Heart. And every tribe has clans in it. And we're all in the Scar clan. That's where you recognize the wounds and the losses in your life. And you look for medicine teachings, wisdom teachings, to help you understand that even the scar is stronger than your skin. And so as you get older, you realize there's no normal life. Creativity comes from the edges, the margins. Eccentricity is one of your gifts. And the status quo wants to keep everything the same. As Doris Shore says here, my age group, it's so routine how you're supposed to act. It's almost like there's a rule book, and people say to me, you're supposed to do this. And I say, where's the rule book? Show me the rule book where it says I got to do this and be this. As my friend Patty Lombardi would said, who died made you cap of the world. Yeah. So you can break the molds of how you're supposed to be, how you're supposed to act, how you're supposed to dress, how you're supposed to eat. But the elders in general, traditionally, they test you to help see you and to help you see. And it's dangerous, it's unpredictable. When you're with an elder, they're unreliable in a certain way because their home is in the soul. And they don't let anything interfere with the contentment of the soul. Or as I like to say, yogis hate to have their peace disturbed. So if that means dropping out of the Uber culture and developing the romance with your imagination, it's as good as any other story that they're telling you. Now, one of the images is weaving. I picked this up from Clarissa Pinkola Estes. Weavers pay attention to the tiniest and boldest threads and weave it all together. In other words, it's a set of stories that they tell with the twists and turns within the weaving itself. So you look at your life, and each vignette of your life is like an episode, and you have to learn to take that weaving off the loom and put it to some good use. And no weaving is perfect. In fact, in the old days, when the Sufis would make the Kaleen rugs, they purposely put a floor in it to damp down on their hubris, because nothing is perfect except spirit. Now, owls are symbols of wisdom from Athena onward. And the first thing they teach you is being alive is heaviness. Travail is part of life. No one gets through this rugged process without getting scarred. So elders help you see behind and underneath to see where the scams and the cons are. You see the false is false, even if you can't say what the truth is. You know that's not it. And you have to learn like a tree, like a sapling. If you don't create a little bark, a little toughness on the outside, you won't make it past the first winter. So many of the teachings that elders share with you is learn how to be assailed when you're blown off course and find your way back. Because toughness can sway in a positive way. Doesn't mean to be a bully or something like that. but you get a certain kind of resilience, like a lacquered cup. If you drop it, it has some bounce, not like grandma's china, which you drop it, bursts into pieces. Samuel Johnson, great English philosopher, he who has so little knowledge of human nature as to seek happiness by changing anything but his own disposition will waste his life in fruitless efforts. So see nature as it is and not how we try to portray it. You can criticize other people because what's wrong is always available, but the real key, self-responsibility, the buck stops here. You practice yoga and you change yourself to the extent that one can. And finally, you realize stories are medicine, medicine in the form of wisdom. Elders inoculate the young when they're new with pure with their life experience, and the young people inoculate the elders with their life force. It's the treasure of their life energy, without even thinking about it. Just their very being does it. So really important, to understand where that's at. And then we say elders inoculate the young by never letting them get pressed into a box that's too small for them to fit into. Remember, they're not your parents. They don't care how well you do, but they recognize your spiritual worth and send you on your way. And then finally, perfection is an inestimable goal and also an inestimable poison. Like the Gestalt people say, perfection is a yardstick with which you beat yourself. At the same time, my own teacher here shows perfection is perfecting. It's a gerund, it never ends. And so if you get the message, then you realize, as Carl Jung said, you don't get to enlightenment by meditating on figures of light, but by making the darkness conscious. May we all continue to do that for the benefit of everyone.